Standardized test. What is it supposed to assess? How well the student is learning the subject and the teacher's ability to teach students. So what do the scores mean? Percentile is how your student compares to the other students. So a 75 percentile means your student's score is higher than 75% of the students. And so like 99 percentile would be your student's score is higher than 99% of the students. So mean would be the average score of all of the students, and mode is the most common score. So an EOC and an EOG. An EOC is an end of course exam. It's usually in high school. So it's the end of the semester testing, and scores range from 1 to 4, and passing is a 3 or a 4. An EOG is the end of grade exam. It's usually in elementary and high school, and it's the end of the school year testing, and scores range from 1 to 4, and passing is 3 or a 4. So AP exams is the advanced placement exams, and they're usually in high school, and the end of the school year testing is usually when it happens, no matter when the class was taken. So say your student takes AP European History in the fall. They're not going to get tested until the spring. And the scores range from 1 to 5, and passing is a 3. Colleges usually take 4 or 5 for college credit, but it depends on the college and what the AP class is. So like at Appalachian State, they don't take any 3s unless it's in a foreign language, or I think it's like a AP computers, like science class. Everything else has to be a 4 or a 5 for app to take it for college credit. So performance assessments are assessments that usually don't use bubble sheets for answers, and they follow the concept of showing your work. So like for example, an AP or a PE teacher might have the students use what they learned in class about basketball to shoot a basketball for their assessment. So like it accurately shows what they learned versus how well they can take a test. So like another example would be students learning how to read in kindergarten or first grade. So their teacher would have them by themselves, just the teacher and the student one-on-one, read a book, and like the teacher would have certain markers to check off while the student is reading, versus the student reading a passage and answering a bubble question sheet. For special education, it takes away from the individual's needs in the classroom because the teacher has to teach for like these certain standards that need to be tested. And so that means that the tests are one size fits all, and they don't work for everybody, including those who require more attention in special education. So a summative assessment is a standardized test, and they test what the student learned all year or at the end of a unit or a lesson. This isn't much help for the teachers because it's too late to help the students since they're usually at the end of the school year or the class. And that's why a formative assessment is preferred. They're done throughout the lesson or the unit, and they help gauge where the students are with the subject or material. The teacher then can adjust what needs to be retaught and what doesn't using the results. And it helps students to actually learn versus memorizing for a test. So in conclusion, standardized tests do not test what they say they do. They harm the education system and fail our students because our students get so stressed out and have testing anxiety, and they aren't actually being tested for their knowledge on the material. But they are required nationally and by state for funding and for advancement to the next grade level. So we need to fix our standardized test system to actually represent what our students are learning so that teachers can actually teach what students should be learning versus how to take an exam.